Hi everyone, and welcome to the brand new What's Your Meta Insight series. This is episode 1, so we thought episode 1, a great way of kicking that off would be probably meet who's behind the scenes at What's Your Meta. My name's James McCallum, otherwise known as Jimmy Mac, around about this neck of the woods. I am the owner/founder and as well as head coach when it comes to cycling. British cycling qualified coach, as well as a level 4 S&C coach. And the rest of the team are joining me on screen right now. So I'll pass across to Carol. Carol, what's your name and where'd you come from?
Well, my name's Carol. I am the resident sports and massage therapist with What's Your Meta, and my qualifications are sport and exercise science background with sport and exercise massage qualifications and lots of other CPDs in general and specific, so spinal manipulation, some dry needling, things like that. And I also have a background in swim teaching and coaching and exercise and fitness.
Right.
So,
who's next? Jack, let's go with you. You're the new man on the block. Jack's recently joined the team this last month, so he's came on board to bring his expertise from many facets, which he's now about to explain to you what they are.
Hello guys, I'm Jack Stout. I'm originally from the Orkney Islands, but now in the capital. So I'm the new strength and conditioning coach at Meta. I've previously was at university at Abertay, but I did sport and exercise science. Then followed this on to Glasgow University for my masters in sports science and medicine. Have had previous experience with both men's and women's professional football, but now going down the endurance route. So looking forward to getting started and meeting you guys.
Beautiful. And also Jack is the man who is behind the programming of our new weekly lockdown workouts, which we're putting out every Monday. There's one due to drop tomorrow morning, which will probably after this goes out. So check on this YouTube channel as well as on our social medias. Ultimately, What's Your Meta, and it should pop up in any of your social medias. And Jack is the man who is behind the sequencing and the description and the loading of our new our weekly lockdown workouts. So last but not least, my favourite guy, Finlay McAndrew.
So hi, I'm Finlay. I'm originally from Edinburgh, where I studied applied sports science at Edinburgh Uni about 11 years ago now. And that's where I started racing Ironman triathlon and really dedicating myself towards that. And then it was about 3 years ago that I started working with Jimmy and Carol at What's Your Meta and took on the role of triathlon coach with What's Your Meta. And here we are now.
Beautiful. A lot of sports science in the house from the two gents, and obviously a lot of added qualifications from Carol's end. I previously was a professional athlete, so dumb, as most people would expect. I've worked on loads of things when I was still an athlete, so done a lot of CPD stuff myself, and still trying to do a bit of that just now while we're in this lockdown. So everyone's good, all healthy. How's obviously this has been shot at quite a weird time, and when you look back at this in retrospect, it might be a bit weird, maybe like 6 months or 6 years. But obviously we're in the middle of lockdown right now in the UK. Coronavirus, COVID-19 has hit pretty heavily globally, and this is the reason why we're doing these videos. It's to give you guys some content to watch, but it's also giving you some insights into what we do as a coaching company. Our motto is to try and build better humans, and ultimately we're going to do everything that we can remotely to do that. And as you said, we've already started doing our weekly lockdowns, our weekly lockdown workouts, but we're going to do more and more that we work with, which I'm quite excited about. Actually, there's some pretty cool interviews coming up over the next few weeks, so definitely stay tuned to this series if you do nothing else. So anyway, what's the chat then? Carol, what's been happening?
well, since lockdown, I've had to adapt my training somewhat. Being coached by Finlay, I try and do a bit of triathlon, and I'm obviously out of the pool, which don't tell Finlay that I'm really pleased about. But I'm just wondering how everybody keeps motivated. What makes you get up and train? Because for me, my goal is an event at the end of July. Still don't know if it's happening or not, but I'm still getting up, still going out every day, doing my training. What makes everybody else get up and go out?
question. I think right now, what a lot of good things are happening just now is social media. There's loads of quite cool and unique challenges which actually make you feel part of other communities. I think that's been quite good. I just recently did one on Zwift last week to raise money for a food bank. There's loads of weird things happening. There's a girl who just did 200k, a girl called Molly Weaver. She's did 200k in her dad's garden, raise money, and that's quite impressive. But for me, it's more about thinking about at some point it's going to happen a change, and we're going to get back to normal. So for me, I'm taking opportunities right now to, I've got to homeschool my little one and everything else around what we still do as a company, but also looking at the aspect of what can I kind of work on right now, whether it's personal development or whether it's actually working on the little things that I should have been working on previously, which I haven't, whether it's gym work or spend a bit more time maybe running, bit of diversity. But I'm just trying to change things up and keep it as varied as possible.
I think I'm at the moment just trying to really focus on the process of everything and using that as motivation, because I think we're all guilty at times of setting a goal and having something that we're working towards, but once that passes, we then find it very easy to then deviate away from that overall picture and that goal and move on to something else, whether it's going back to what Jimmy said, we're always trying to build better humans, and I'm sort of at the moment just focusing on the whole time just getting as strong as I can, and whether that's for a race or not, it sort of almost it doesn't really matter at times. For me, I just want to get fitter and stronger, and that's my motivation right now to train, is to just keep getting better.
I think your other motivation is, you've not even explained, but you have actually qualified for Kona Ironman this year as well, which has been a big goal of yours for the last few years. And
yeah,
it's a bit of a funny time, as everyone whether that's still going to happen. I know that the Ironman haven't quite released anything as yet. They were talking about different qualifications possibly going to be coming into place in the last few weeks. But how's that working with you as well? It's a savage mind game, isn't it?
Yeah, well, I mean, who knows what's going to happen with Kona, because it could either, at the moment it's happening, but there's a lot of people saying it's almost impossible that it will go ahead. So, in reality, it does look like it could be next year, but I don't think you can at the moment have that a mindset that it's not going to happen. So I'm at the moment trying to prepare as if that race is going to happen, and that would be my advice to other people is, unless it's in the immediate future and there's other events are at that time which are being cancelled, then the races later on in the season, it's a case of going, well, there is actually, you don't know, it's out of your control at the moment, and it is just sort of focusing still on that as an outcome. And obviously the training's a little bit different than what it would be if we weren't in this situation, but I'm still trying to have that in the background as my major goal, and that's still justification for the training. So yeah.
What about yourself, Jack? What are you doing?
Motivational wise, I'm just trying to keep doing as much as possible. I was training for London Marathon, which would have been my first marathon, which is next Sunday, but obviously it fell through and got postponed. But I think I've taken the look at, I've got an extra 5 months of training. When I actually got into London, all I had was 11 weeks. So it wasn't a case of I could do my base training, I could then periodise and build it up. It was essentially, I just need to get used to the distance, used to the miles. So I've looked at it more in the case of I've got some free time to play with, other than, this is a disaster, it's not going ahead anymore. And then from a personal point of view, I think it's just a case of trying to keep yourself occupied and try build on yourself, or if not, anything that you can do. So, for example, coming in here and working with you guys, it's a case of when I do eventually meet the clients and start coaching, then everything will be like tuned down, and it'll be the best quality that I can produce for you guys.
Yeah. Carol, you're going to answer your own question. How you keep yourself motivated and focused?
Well, for me, I've given it quite a bit of thought. I quite like the structure of still having a training program. so I like that I've still got the weekly schedule in my diary of things to follow. But for me, the motivation isn't really the end goal, although that's brilliant and it's amazing doing the events. It's being the best I can be myself all the time. That's what makes me get up and do the exercise. You know, I want to be fit. I want to be healthy, and that's what, well, I say motivates. You don't always get up and think that you want to do it, but every time I've done a training session, a run or a bike, or you never at the end of it think, oh, I wish I hadn't done that. You're always glad you've done it because you're growing yourself all the time, and that keeps me going. I think, and knowing there'll be other events in the future.
Yeah.
This isn't, you know, it's a blip.
I think you can see that exercise as a tool right now is so important for everyone. I mean, even just having I think everyone's probably cleaned out every cupboard they've got, washed their car 5 times, rearranged their garden in their garage 4 or 5 times, and folded and unfolded every t-shirt they've got in the cupboard, because we want some form of control right now, because everyone's just kind of, it's so scattergun right now. Messages we're getting from the media are all over the shop. You can't get away from it pretty much, and that's obviously something we can kind of chat about in a wee minute. But I think it's just having purpose is really, really important. And I think that now you can see so many people are jumping on their bikes, going out running, walking, and it's really, really nice to see that mental shift, because that's ultimately what exercise is about. It's getting that break away from the daily grind, getting out of the house and releasing, as you say, all those positive hormones in the body. And like Joe Wicks has been saying, every morning you'll get out of your bed to do his PE with the kids, and you'll be like, oh, but then 20 minutes later you're absolutely buzzing because you've actually completed something, but all those very, very positive hormones are starting to kick around the body. So it's an interesting time for people to learn about how exercise can be such a vital and positive component to your life. And I think it's very, very important right now that people do that.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
How about yourself, Jack? What else has been happening with you?
Not a huge lot, to be honest. I'm at home at the moment. So it's the girlfriend, so she's working from home. So just trying to keep myself into any routine that she's in, which can be easier said than done with me kicking about on the sofa half the time and she's working. But no, I'm keeping well, just trying to keep myself as busy as possible, as I'm sure most people are, to stop themselves going insane at the moment at home.
Aye, absolutely. And it's obviously the motivation factor. I think we spoke a few times here, but you kind of highlighted it before, but how's everyone, how's your training changed in what you're doing? Obviously you're spending a lot of time in the sofa by the sounds of it, but I mean, how everyone's training changed that? I know that the way in which I'm training people has changed dramatically, but I think you've mentioned it previously to me, Jack, in another phone call. How are we doing it? It's quite an interesting to kind of answer. So what are you guys thinking, Finn? What you kind of changed to your training?
Well, obviously there's no swimming at the moment, so had to try and be clever and adapt the training with that. So, for example, swimming every day of the week, you are effectively doing an upper body workout every time you go in the pool. So my advice with people and what I've been doing is try and create a bit of that stimulus with additional strength training, whether that's deciding that you're going to do 10 press ups a day and you actually just do that every day of the week, and then next week add 1 press up to that. And it might not seem like a huge amount initially, but that's the kind of thing I've been doing just to keep my those sort of systems in place and working. And then with cycling, I've actually made the decision to do everything indoors, just because I wanted to create an element of consistency, and also just to be on the safe side. I've decided to stay indoors on the bike, and that's where Zwift's been an amazing tool, because we've been being able to do our meetup rides, and get it's a way of still riding with other people that we're coaching, and other athletes in the meta community. So there's been a lot of indoor bike riding. In fact, I actually rode 180 kilometers last Saturday on Zwift, which was, I've never sweated so much in my entire life. But that was pretty good fun, because obviously the hard thing on Zwift is that there's no let up in pedaling. So I don't think I stopped turning the pedals for 4.5 hours, which probably equates to a good 6 hours of cycling on the road. So that's been good fun. And then I've decided over this period to really try and improve my running. So I've actually added a bit more volume to my run training, which is also supplementing some of the swimming volume that I've missed. So that's some sort of advice I would give to people, is you're not trying to increase like lots of intensity, but just adding some more easy aerobic work is a very easy way to make more use of the time and then come out of this period stronger. So I set a target of running 4 weeks straight, doing 100 plus kilometers each week, and that I came out of those 4 weeks into recovery week and felt really, really good, and ran a pretty fast 5K off the back of that. So I've sort of adapted my training with just really focusing on what I can supplement with what I'm missing, and then setting some small but very achievable targets. So yeah.
Good. This one. Carol, obviously Finlay does your training for you. So what's Finlay?
So what Finlay's done, I'm saying all my bike sessions are on the turbo using Zwift, and I really appreciate it, and much the same as Finlay. I actually think, from a social distancing point of view, and for all the advice that's given out there, that we're better to stay inside on the bike. I'm safer on the bike in the house. I've increased my training a little bit in running, so more running sessions, which I'm quite enjoying. And I've started doing a bit more yoga again in the house. I have a few friends who are yoga teachers who are doing online classes, and I've started doing a bit of that to help with a bit of strength and flexibility.
Nice one. What have you been kind of? I've seen you did the 5K challenge and stuff like that. What have you kind of been doing, buddy?
I run most days. I think with all this time on your hands, you've got that freedom to go, and you can run most days. You can almost live like a professional athlete in ways where you can train almost whenever you want. You can sleep and nap after your sessions to get the best recovery. So my mindset is basically just been getting out most days, whether that's just to do a light 5K, whether that's like a really heavy session, and just trying to build on my fitness levels, which I didn't really have time to do before for my marathon. So it's just a case of almost like this free time that you've got to really go and push yourself. Strength wise, obviously everyone will be struggling if you don't have a squat rack or a barbell in your house, but it's just a case of looking at it in the sense that you can maintain your strength levels throughout this period, even with just body weight and doing the correct exercises. But also gives you that option to go and look at weaknesses you've got and sort of build on them, reduce your likelihood of getting injured further on in the season, and it'll just make you feel a lot better when you are running and when cycling, swimming, whatever you're wanting to do. So I've been kind of like bouncing around both. Training load's pretty high at the moment, but I've got the time on my hands to recover, so it's been fine.
Yeah, hiding on the couch away from your missus.
Absolutely.
I mean, you're all hitting really, really important parts there, and for my part, I kind of look at my days as like double days and like sometimes triple days. It's a bit weird, which is a lot different to what I was doing way before this all kicked off. Even when I was a pro athlete, I maybe only trained maybe twice a day maximum, but it's all kind of short, sharp, or really, really definitive training that I'm doing. So we've started a thing on Zwift. We do Tuesday and Thursday morning pre-breakfast club. So we do like a little 45-minute ride. Nice way to get a wee bit of fasty stuff in there, a little bit added volume into the training, and we're doing that as meetup on Zwift. Lunchtime I try and do some kind of resistance work. So I'll probably homeschool Penelope, my little one, 9 o'clock onwards. The day, then Pamela and start looking after the little one for lunch. I'll pop in the garage. And the fortunate thing I've got, the fact that we closed our gym, is like kick-ass home gym right now, so that's brilliant. And then I'll do a session, whether that's a run or if it's maybe like a sweet spot session, always trying to maintain and keep on top of that threshold. But for me, that's kind of where I've been kind of aiming my sort of self in that kind of ballpark. But that's kind of leads on to another kind of one of the ask you guys is that what's kind of tools right now that you've got at home? What's kind of like the best tool and most imaginative you've actually come up with, you assist with your training?
I actually think I'm not too bad in terms of my setup, because I think you can use your body for pretty much everything if you know how to work it. But I mean, actually, a kettlebell's been the my go-to piece of equipment at the moment. It's amazing what you can do with a kettlebell. Because you can do pretty much any leg exercise, upper body exercises, you can do dynamic exercises which will raise your heart rate like kettlebell swings. So I wouldn't say I've necessarily been too inventive with any random particular thing. I've just tried to make the absolute best with what I've got. And it's like Jack was saying, we don't have squat racks and barbells at home at the moment, but you can get yourself very strong and get very fit without lots of gym equipment.
I think it falls back into simple things done well usually work pretty. And actually, fact, I was going to say, for me, it's definitely a kettlebell is one of the most. We can use it for so many facets. We can do single arm stuff, legged stuff with it as well, and even rubber bands. I mean, it's amazing to put through your body with a big rubber band. But what about yourself, Jack and Carol? What you guys kind of been kind of up like, and what's sort of you been kind of dabbling?
I'll go first.
There you go.
So I've probably been a bit boring. I would say that my favourite piece of equipment has either been the turbo trainer, which I mix it up sometimes and take it out into the garden. Not sure what the neighbours think. And the yoga mat, a little bit of space in the living room. I try and do that in the morning because my teenage children don't get up until the afternoon. So that's my time. That I've got the house to myself, really. So yeah, nothing exciting. Probably nothing that I haven't already been using. And I've also been making use. I've got some kettlebells in the house too. They are really versatile, aren't they? When you don't have barbells and a proper setup. Yeah.
Yeah, myself, I have 2 kettlebells, which have been an absolute godsend, and 2 15-kilogram dumbbells that I've done just about every single exercise under the sun you can imagine with them. But quite a lot of stuff's just body weight, and you can have as much weight as you want, but if you do stuff with a slower tempo and work like really slow eccentrically and get the form absolutely pinpoint, then you can really like push yourself without actually needing to throw 40, 50, 60 kilograms onto a bar or whatever. And I think it's actually helped. You do notice little tweaks and little things about your body that you're like, feel a bit weak there, or the next day it's feeling a bit tender. It just gives you quite a good idea of what is lacking. So it's actually been pretty good in the way of, because I quite, like myself personally, quite a lot of people I know will train pretty heavy quite a lot of the time, whether that's like heavy strength or looking into power. And you kind of almost neglect these little movements that can like really make the difference when you're, needing it most, when you're competing or when you're building up to competition season as well.
You have a very, very good point there, is that people sometimes don't understand what the rep ranges are all about when you're doing strength conditioning. And obviously you talked about tempo there and time under tension. Maybe it'd be quite useful to explain a little bit about that just now while we're here, because some people might just be literally doing the same exercise every day and they've got no idea what the rep range they're actually doing it in is actually doing to their bodies and how they can maybe tweak that?
Yeah, so usually with when you're looking for maximum strength gains within the gym, you'll be wanting to do an exercise for about 4 to 6 reps maximum. So that meaning on your last rep, you are really like, that is as many as you can do. So you're really pushing yourself. When then you're looking to go to muscle hypertrophy, so this is when you're really growing the muscle and trying to get as much size out of it. This is when you look above that up to about 12 reps. And again, you do want to be fatiguing right on that 10, 11, 12 rep. And then above that again, that's when you're looking more into your muscular endurance. So it's almost dependent on which area you're wanting to go into. Quite a good way to think of it is you want to, if you're very, very new to strength and conditioning, strength-wise, quite a good thing to think about is implement, your 10, 12, and then build that up to 15 reps. And then if you're totally comfortable with that weight, the technique's absolutely down to a T, then lift that weight just a little bit. If you don't happen to have weight, just change the tempo. So what I mean by that is when, for example, you're doing a squat, when you're on the lower phase, just take 3 seconds and just really think about that form on the way down, and then still come up explosively when you're working concentrically. But it's just getting your body used to that and making sure that your body's used to that load. But that can be manipulated as well. But that is the basis of how those rep ranges do work and what you should be looking for depending on where your weaknesses lie within yourself.
Yeah, I think it's quite cool to learn about it. If you've no idea what the reps are doing and about tempo and all that, it can get quite boring. Very quick resistance exercising, and it's very easy to go on YouTube and find a workout that people are doing to, A, potentially bad form, and B, to exhaustion. And when you do something to exhaustion, bad form usually comes. So about kind of, in a way, you are talking about a form of periodization of it, but obviously you would work the other way down. You'd work on the endurance of the muscle, and then you'd work on the hypertrophy would come along with the endurance, but then strength is really, right now, it'd be pretty tough to work on pure, raw, absolute grunty strength. Whereas I think right now, what we're all kind of getting at with what we're doing in our own lives right now and in our own training is that when you do your muscular endurance and your hypertrophy, that's really where you're going to get bang for your buck right now, especially when it comes to your endurance side of the sport.
Yeah, totally. Sorry, on you go, Finn?
No, I was just green.
Cool, right, Finn. So, Finley, time to wrap this up. What else has been happening?
Well, I've sort of been thinking a lot at the moment, where I've been really appreciating, just even more so the ability to train and keep doing, what we're able to do to quite a high degree. And it's been a thought in my mind that, what are people going to change, about their training when this does end? And, is their mindset going to change towards training, and their attitude towards being able to train and get the most out of their body every day?
Good question, actually, because I think I've been kind of becoming more and more aware when I talk to our athletes, and it's that you may never get a chance like this. Even the sports across, like Scottish cycling, British cycling, is it time to change things? Is it time to look at have our seasons? And is it time to change what we do as individuals as well? So I've been really, really thinking about that sort of thing, and I think it's going to be pretty rare, I think, that anyone's going to experience this again in our generations, kind of different generations, but in the next probably 50 years, I think it's going to be quite rare that we're going to experience anything like this again. And I think it's a really good thing to give yourself that bit of headspace and really, really think about what you can change, but being careful with that change, not going too crazy with it and trying to do everything at once, because that's just going to be the recipe for disaster and you'll fall straight off the cliff. But just one thing every week. Just go, this week I'm going to make sure I get up out of my bed at X time, and having that form of routine for me is important. And I think now that we've got this luxury of being able to sit down and actually use this time, my biggest thing is just using this time to learn. And I've got a proper answer for your question right now, because kind of like everyone else, I'm kind of trying to work it out. It's only been 3 weeks' time, but I'm now aware that because I'm at home with a wee one and doing the homeschooling, doing all the usual stuff, well, I actually realise I've actually probably got more time to do things than I actually thought I had previously. And there's always time to do some form of exercise. It doesn't have to be hours on the bike or a 1 hour run. It can be like a minute session in your living room, stretching, mobility, some form of other exercise to work on the other facets of being an athlete, rather than it just purely being about smashing it all the time, which I think people get quite caught up in. But from my point of view, it's more about being aware that I've actually got more capacity to do things than I think the world had kind of laid on top of me. Everyone's busy, everyone's busy, but we don't actually take the time to allow ourselves to actually just chill out and just do something for us. And that's where exercise sometimes is the best remedy. That's kind of how I'm kind of looking at it just now.
Yeah, absolutely. I think we feel like we're moving around at like a million miles an hour the whole time, and this has given us a chance to slow down, and we can take some of those learnings into the future. Absolutely.
I've even been reading more go to bed now, instead of sitting on my phone feeling like I want to hang off watching social media, and I read my book. And it's helped my sleeps. My sleep's got a lot better. I feel a lot more relaxed, and it sounds ridiculous, but it's a simple thing to change.
Yeah. And what about you, Carol? I know that you said you are pretty glad that you're not swimming, but you'd be glad when you go back to the pool.
I will be. I mean, joking aside, I am missing the pool a little. It's not the part of the training I excel at the most. But the thing that I think I will take going forward is sleep. I would say that, not the busyness aspect, but just the fact that I'm late in bed every night and I'm up early. What I've noticed over the last 4 weeks is I'm going to bed a bit earlier, a bit like you, James. I'm going to bed, I'm reading a book, I'm getting a bit of downtime first, and I'm sleeping 8 hours. Now, that's unheard of for me. I'm usually 5 hours. So going forward for me, to get into a routine of going to bed a bit earlier, because I still like to get up early, it's going to make a huge difference. And in terms of your training, because we often forget, it's not just about the training, it's the things you do when you're not training that help your body recover and adapt. So yeah, that's huge for me to realise that it's okay to go to bed at 10 o'clock. You don't miss anything. It's fine.
The phrase is probably train hard, recover harder.
Yeah.
Sleep's where it all happens.
Yeah.
And waves of sleep, and I've been using a Whoop band now for ages, and it's the message I get for that, and other companies will do HRV and all that stuff, and just really dial in that kind of sleep. It's made a huge difference to me as an athlete in the last 6 months. But obviously I'm a bit more aware of what my body does and what it likes, and trying to put new things in there. If you ever want to go into a cool podcast, the Whoop.com podcast is a brilliant podcast for all things sleep and recovery, so check it out if you can.
Yeah, it's brilliant.
Jackie boy?
Well, not much has changed for myself. I'm a runner, so I can go outside and run, so it's been fine that way. Do spend quite a lot of time in the gym, but I think the biggest take home I've got from this is that you can do a home workout whenever you want. I mean, you obviously don't, no one's got access to gyms now, so I think it was very rare last month even that I would be sitting at home and doing a quick workout, because I thought, what's the point? I can just go to the gym tomorrow morning. But I think everyone's easy that you can miss a session here and there, but I think it'll open up quite a lot of people's eyes that you can do a quick, strength session, or even just a circuit or something, 15, 20 minutes even. It's not going to take you longer than an hour, and you can get quite a good benefit out of it. So like that way, I think it's given me another option of training to do, even though it's been there the whole time. I just haven't really utilised it. But going forward, it'll just be a case of really getting my training to a T, because I've got time to do so now. I think everyone should have that same mindset where it's essentially free time that you can use to really like throw what you're looking to do. So if you're looking to get like a sub-3 marathon or whatever, you can really push that. And I think if everyone has the mindset of, you know, it's a gift, the time, and you can really like kick on from it, then you're gonna get on pretty well.
Yeah, totally, man. Loads of quite interesting comments there. I've got one last question before we wrap this up for the end of episode 1. If you'd one tip to help people cope in this lockdown, what would it be?
Mine would be set a weekly goal that you want to achieve, whether that's running X amount of distance or doing, like I said, X amount of press-ups. Just set a goal and try and achieve that.
Yeah. Carol?
Mine would be to have some sort of routine. You know, get up, get dressed, have your breakfast, do something similar most days, and don't tune into the news all the time. You know, that's a lot of worry and there's a lot of messages out there, and I think right now we could do with hearing a little bit less about it, because it's not going to, you know, the facts are still going to be there tomorrow. If you watch the news this morning, watch it again tomorrow morning.
I think it makes it really helpless, doesn't it?
Yeah, and we are, to a certain extent, we are helpless in terms of what's happening globally. But if we can switch off from that a little bit, we can focus on what we can do. Like you talked about earlier, James, about having, you know, we feel like we need to have some kind of control. If you're constantly watching the news on a loop, you lose all control, because you could get yourself into such a state.
Yeah.
And enjoy the time outside. Yeah. You know, the weather has been really good, which it's not usually this good in April, and that's good headspace, just time just to relax, listen to a podcast, listen to a book, or just walk and listen to the nature sounds that I think generally we don't hear with all the other noise that goes on all the time. So that would be my tips.
Makes one sort of routine.
Okay. Yeah.
Jack?
Definitely routine is a key, I think. I mean, I get up when the missus gets up. I work when she works, and then afterwards that's when we have our downtime, just to have some sort of routine. I think is it's just the best benefit. And then just do something for yourself that you want to do, that you want to learn, that you think, you know, like I've done quite a lot of stuff that I'd always wanted to look into, even if it's just research wise. And it just you'll get a sense of achievement just from doing anything that it's gonna benefit you. I try to do that every day just to keep myself sane, and it just keeps you ticking over, basically.
Yeah, I think the theme is here is that we spoke about it earlier, is that this is maybe it's a great time for you to really kind of reevaluate where you're at, kind of in life, socially, without trying to be too kind of airy-fairy about it, but really, really look at where you're at and realise that a lot of life is actually just pure noise. You said about the news, Carol, it's the same. You're regurgitating the same thing every 10 minutes and nothing's really changing. At least you make you feel, but you need to try and take it out for yourself. And the first thing you can do, and the best you can do with that, is routine, getting outside and spending time with the people that you love, more importantly, I think.
Yeah.
So that's cool. But
can I just say as well, I also think it's quite good sometimes to allow yourself to do nothing.
Yeah, I've been learning that.
You know, although we're in lockdown, we're talking about routine and keeping some kind of activity and stuff. It's also still okay sometimes to do nothing.
Yeah. To
accept that this is difficult and it's a bit unusual, and that's okay as well.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, well, we know there's with it, but I think the thing is that we're all in this together, as they've all been saying. Everyone says, but we're here as a support system for our athletes and the people that, but we're also here as a support system for all of us. And doing this sort of thing as a group is still really, really important. So I think we'll wrap it up at that. Just to say to anyone who's in on this little video that we started, this is episode 1 of the What's Your Meta Insight series. there'll be more coming in the following weeks. So thanks for joining us and putting up with us for this long. If you managed to get this far through our, I don't know, podcast, vlog, what are we now? I don't know. We're just here to help and support people and build that meta community. So thank you once again for tuning in. Thanks to you guys, Finn, Jack,
Thank you.
Thank you.
and more to come. So take care, everyone.